Definitely impressed with that. And though we do follow an outline there, please. I was looking up something else, and so I distracted myself right here. And I
saw your face just go, "Oh no, I'm failing," and David's watching me, and he's going to use this to open the show. What do I do?
And this is Gaytriarch.
So I have 2 private Instagrams for my kids, and it's just for like friends and family to see the dump of pictures so I don't inundate people on Facebook, and it's private.
That's
so
smart.
Yeah,
But it is also, that makes me think then you have to manage 2 more Instagram accounts, and that's exhausting to me already.
It is, but all I do is post and go. Like post one photo a day, and then I don't even monitor
Nice.
it. Well, my mom, who is our listener, hi, shout out mom.
Hey, listener.
Who, I won't reveal her age because she'd get mad at me, but she's got a life behind her, if you know what I mean.
Is she even older than me?
Nobody's older than you, Gavin, except the pterodactyl I saw at the museum the other day. But she commented on a photo. It was my son and my daughter sharing an ice cream. And my son was feeding my daughter ice cream. This was before the fight, and they threw it across the parking lot. But her comment was, "Really good Big Brother vibes," smiley face. And I was like, ma'am, you are way too old to use vibes. I'm too old to use the word vibes, but she used it appropriately. So I want to give a shout out to our listener, my mom, for commenting "really good Big Brother vibes" on the Instagram, because I laughed out loud. I was like, my mom is using vibes.
Okay, so as our listener probably knows, we do follow an outline here as we talk amongst, 1,000 miles apart from each other on the Zoom world or the Riverside world. But anyway, I saw this on the outline, and I thought to myself, what struck me about that is Big Brother vibes, and me thinking that you were going to go down a George Orwellian academic track.
Really?
Like, oh God, it's like a censor Big Brother following and creepily stalking his little sister. No, that's your
thoughtful, like thought experiment, think piece kind of thing. That's you. I'm here for dick jokes and making fun of you.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Well, okay, not at all along those lines, except maybe ice cream and enjoying sweet shit. So for many months, I was talking about makeup, and that it just drives me crazy that the TikTok capitalist sphere is making my daughter think that her perfect complexion is not perfect enough. So she has to buy a bunch of crap, right? From Sephora. Well, I did realize that the capitalist industrial complex is now selling also tweens and teens energy drinks, in particular Celsius. So you know what Celsius is, right?
I do. I'm just shocked that everyone's trying to get perfect prepubescent skin and perfect prepubescent energy levels, and they're like, "What are you doing? This is the fountain of youth here."
Yes, and there is so much caffeine in a Celsius, as I'm sure you are aware, that there is something that is absolutely toxic that they are pouring into their body, which then they definitely are going to need skincare treatments afterwards, because the Celsius is probably rotting their bodies from the inside out, right? So I took a firm, hard stand and said, daughter, I will never, ever buy you a Celsius. It is so bad. There are 400, I believe that's let's just say 4,000 milligrams of caffeine in a Celsius, and a coffee has 180, which is probably too much too. No, noticeably, a Coke is less. And you know how Europeans are always like, there's more caffeine in a Coke than in coffee. And by Europeans, I mean, I don't know, pretentious people who give you unsolicited advice.
You've just offended like 10 countries with that accent. I don't even know who that was, but
there wasn't an accent. It was just pretension. Anyway, so there is way too much caffeine for anybody to have in a Celsius, and it's more than Red Bull, it's more than Monster, it is off the charts, right? Just off the charts. Anyway, so since I said I would never do it, what are we on this show if nothing else? Hypocrites. So I wanted to be a cool dad a week ago. I don't know, it was a special outing, and I was like, oh, screw it.
Here, daughter, destroy your body. I'm a cool dad.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the genuine love in her eyeballs as her head exploded, even before having the caffeine, was kind of worth it. And
as the cancer grew in her veins, she was like, I love my father.
I do have to say, there have been so many times in our parenting journey that we say no to stuff. And ultimately then my family, my partner and I, and then sometimes we just relent. And then the fixation is over and she kind of moves on with it. Like I bought a Celsius and she hasn't asked for a Celsius. Thank God. Also, she only drank a third of it, to her credit, because they're what? Disgusting. Anyway,
because she was probably sick to her stomach.
Yeah. Right.
It's my first roommate when I moved to New York City was a Red Bull, like, I don't know, spokesman. I don't know what it is, where they drive the little car.
Oh, yeah.
And they go to different places. So in our kitchen, we had just cases and cases, and I would drink it just like soda, just like 10 a day.
Really?
Not thinking anything. Yeah.
10?
I was an insane person.
Did you feel it? I'm a complete energy drink virgin. I mean, okay, maybe I've had a sip, so that's just like
I don't know if it makes me feel energetic. It just makes me feel weird and buzzy, and I don't know why people do it. I get enough excitement trying to sleep and not injure myself. So, speaking of injuring myself, this is our last week of daycare.
Ooh, right.
For my son, he has been going here since he was a little baby, just learning how to walk. He's been through all the rooms in this daycare up to pre-K 3, and now he's graduating pre-K 4.
Wow!
And it is, of course, a week of parties and hugs and crying, and some of the kids have already left. But did
you have to bring treats and mac and cheese?
Today, I made a homemade mac and cheese plain. I made it plain.
Mm-hmm.
I baked cookies. Yeah, I had to bring all the decorations, all that stuff. But it is a weird, bittersweet moment of, like, we talked about parenting as just a bunch of goodbyes, right? Like nonstop goodbyes. But it is weird because, like, this is such a formative, the first, 5 years of this kid's life were spent in this building. Now, it's not like we're going to never be here ever again, because my daughter still goes here. It's attached to the gym I go to, but it is kind of bittersweet because the following week he goes to kindergarten. And it's been
but you've got a week off in between.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a week off. So, like, my son will be home and my daughter will still be going to daycare, but
what are you going to do with him?
What am I going to do with him? I'm going to park him in front of an iPad, Gavin. What do you think I'm going to do?
I was going to say, you are totally inexperienced in the ways of having your child with you 24/7.
No, I'm going to hire a professional to deal with him. I'm not going to deal with my own son for 3 hours a day.
Well, speaking of lasts, I now have 2 middle schoolers. Yesterday was our first day of school. And if we had listeners across the country, they'd be like, wait, what? Didn't school start like a month ago? But no, we're on the East Coast. It's all over the place.
But it's not just East Coast. It's like in my area where I live, and in my town, it starts a certain day. The town over it starts 3 days after that. The town over on the other side of that starts 3 days before that. Nothing makes sense.
I know, but I mean, most of everybody west of, I don't know, the Mississippi River started a month ago, So anyway, so we have 2 middle schoolers, and that is so bittersweet. And we took the picture, of course, as you do. And just watching them walk in together, one in front of the other, because God forbid they actually walk together and show that they actually have esteem for each other. That is what it is. But, like, hey, 2 middle schoolers. Wow. I am preparing for. This is the beginning of the end for me. They won't like me. They won't smile. They won't engage me in the morning, etc. So
yeah. And it's also from their point of view, I remember middle school, for me at least, like the most horrific time in school at all, because everyone was mean. Everyone was trying to make fun of you. I was becoming the gayness was bubbling inside of me. Yeah, it was just
the insecurities are so crippling.
Totally.
I think we've said it before, and I'll say it a million times over. Middle school teachers.
God, they don't get paid
sainthood?
enough.
No, of course
Saints.
they don't. No teachers do, but anyway.
So you know who else is a saint? Is our listener. Our listener.
Oh,
I love our listener. They are wonderful. Yeah. You and I have met them once or twice.
Yes.
But I want to plead to our listener. We have gotten a lot of really great Instagram DMs and emails from you guys, suggestions, even just general compliments. We've gotten some of those, and we really appreciate it. We want more of them because Gavin and I have painted ourselves into a corner to release one episode every week for the rest of our lives. And we would love your help. We want your thoughts. We want you to tell us what Gavin did that you hated. We want you to tell us what I did that you loved. We also want your ideas. Our back to school episode was because of our listener. So please continue to send us stuff via DMs, even if it's just a dick pic. Send us stuff. Activate with us. We need your help.
We are loving every step of this process, but it's a lot of work, and we ain't complaining, but we are also like crawling on hands and knees to get across the finish line every single week, and it's a pleasure. But give us a hand, huh? Send us guests also, okay? Yeah. Shall you? Obviously, one of the reasons that our listeners stays engaged with us is because we are America's finest news source, right?
Always have been, always will be.
I have an update for you. Remember how Harley Davidson was like, you know what? Screw those people at Tractor Supply and at John Deere. We are going to stick with our people. We're going to be a company of the people, and all people are included, right? Mm-hmm. Do you already know the update to Harley Davidson?
I don't know the update, but my heart is preparing myself.
You can hear in my voice that they have been like, never mind, we're not going to be the DEI people and screw the gays. And, not in such explicit language, but another one bites the dust. And guess what? Another one is biting the dust. It is Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels, which is a staple at gay bars across the entire country, right?
Yeah.
They have also said they're going to dump their DEI initiatives, and they're not going to be big ol' sponsors in pride parades, et cetera, et cetera.
Wait, do you mean Jack Daniels or jacking guys named Daniel? Because I'm interested in both.
I want Jack Daniels to please comment on that question.
But you know what? Can I just say something to all the homophobes who are listening to right now? I know our listener is probably homophobic, and that's fine. That's totally fine. We accept all people. Mm-hmm. Homophobia, y'all, is so boring.
This
like anti, like it is so incredibly boring. You're not ruffling our feathers.
Yeah.
You're not getting us. You're not like getting a lib. It is the most boring thing in the entire world. So find something new.
Everybody needs an enemy, but how about this is so 20 years ago. Come on.
So 20 years ago.
But I was a little curious about this Jack Daniels situation. Like, what is going on here? And the coverage of it is showing that there's one douchebag out there who's after all of these companies and is taking them down single-handedly with his following. And it's a guy named Robbie Starbuck. Have you ever heard that name? Mm-mm. He's a right-wing, commentator. He has probably a podcast with 3 or 4 listeners, and he gets those 3 or 4 listeners. Okay, 3 or 4 million listeners, and they are an army, and they have been going after these companies right and left. Mm-hmm. And he claims on his Twitter profile that he is a director. And I'm like, what? What has he directed? Because he says he used to direct Stars, and now he directs something else as his own catch line. I mean, this guy is such a fraudster. He isn't a Hollywood type, although he tries to do all sorts of name dropping in IMDb, but he's done nothing of interest. Now he's produced a movie with his wife about basically the vast queer ring conspiracy to indoctrinate all kids, but they can't get it. They can't get it for brunch. We want them all to appreciate brunch.
That's it. All that is. We've said this before. The gay agenda, brunch. End of list.
Well, he is out to destroy brunch, basically. Okay. And he has gone after all of these companies. I mean, this dude and his army are single-handedly responsible for bringing down, these initiatives with Tractor Supply, John Deere, Harley Davidson, and Jack Daniels. Shout out to Robbie Starbuck. Robbie Starbuck, if you're listening, do you want to come talk about? Do you want to come see if you could be a gaytriarch? Come on, dude.
First of all, Robbie Starbuck, get a new name.
Get a new
Second
one,
of all,
that is the most
boring. It is the most boring thing in the world. Yeah. It's basically a gay porn name. And we're bored with you. Go find something else to do. Mm-hmm. You know what else is really, really boring? Our top 3 list.
Gaytriarchs top 3 list. 3, 2, 1.
So this week is my week. It is the top 3 most satisfying sounds. Mm-hmm. Top 3 most satisfying sounds. Now, what my initial instinct was like, going for like the crackling fire rain kind of soothing moment. But what I realized is like I wanted it to
I didn't go down that. I didn't go down.
Oh, I'm glad because I didn't either. I decided I wanted something that just like felt really delicious and wonderful when you heard it. So the top 3 things for me are, and number 3, stepping on fresh snow. Oh, that like crunchy, compacty little sound. Mm-hmm. Oof, that is satisfying. Number 2, this is a little weird if you've never done it, but I used to listen. I grew up in Florida. I apologize, but we used to take bottle rockets and we would like point them to the lake that we lived on, and they would shoot under the water, and then they would explode underwater. They'd still go and explode underwater. Yeah. And so the sound of a firework exploding underwater is so satisfying. It kind of sounds like, if you have like a jar of olives and it has that seal and you twist it and it goes,
Yep.
It's the same kind of sound. So
That's
number 2,
so
a firework underwater. Number 1, hard to describe, but it is so fucking satisfying, is in the wintertime in the middle of the woods at night. So this like intense quiet during the winter in the middle of nowhere. It's like a maybe a little bit of breeze in the trees, but it's that like stillness that is like deafening. Oof. Yep. I love that sound.
Those are all relatable sounds. I haven't heard bottle rockets underwater, but I get it.
Yeah.
I appreciate your description. Okay.
What about you?
So number 3 for me, I love the sound of taking off the aluminum off of a big thing of yogurt. You know what I mean? That seal.
Yep.
I appreciate the slight crinkle it makes. All right.
Yeah.
Number 2, the house that I grew up in had a very particular garage door sound, and it scraped across our tile floor and scraped shut, and it had just the right of squeak, both opening and closing at exactly the same time. I left my house, for 20 years, went back, and that sound was so distinctive. I have a recording of it on my phone, and it's just it's profound in my DNA.
It sounds like the sound of pour to me, if I'm being honest. A garage door scraping against old tile. Yeah, that's not the sound of luxury.
It is a distinctive sound of a simple household, without a doubt. Thank you for shitting on my memories. And number 1, farts. Farts are funny.
Oh my God,
I love them.
They are funny. They are funny. I'm so glad neither of us went like the sound of our children laughing.
Well, I will say the dead of a forest in the dead of winter is very kids laughing adjacent. So I'm going to shit on your number 1. Okay.
What's next week?
What keeps you up at night? When you wake up at 1:30 or 2 in the morning and you can't go back to sleep, what do you think about for that hour?
Okay, Gavin, you got to button up.
I know.
Today, we got a big fish today. Big fish.
I already fucked it up.
No. We got a big fish. You got to get your shit together because our guest this week is one of my favorite TikTokers out there. And yes, I know we've had a ton of incredible social media folk on this podcast before.
We have.
But but compared to this guest, trash. Every one of those people, absolute garbage trash. Our guest this week, he's a geolocator, a content creator, an online privacy and safety advocate, a dog dad, and more importantly, today, for the context of our show, a human dad.
Woo!
Please welcome to Gaytriarchs, where we interview people who ask to be interviewed, Jose Monkey.
Jose Monkey!
Hey, it's great to be here with you guys. I really appreciate you having me on your podcast.
We are thrilled.
We are thrilled. You're the big kahuna. We landed a fish 2 years of doing this. We finally got a real guest.
Episode 80, which I feel like there's some significance there. A nice round number.
It is. It's a good number.
New derivative of 20s. I don't know. Anyway.
80. That was 1980. That's when you graduated elementary school.
Actually, not terribly far
terribly too far away. So, Jose, tell us, before we dive in, how have your kids driven you bananas today?
Well, they find lots of ways, but today's grocery day, and so I was making a grocery list earlier, and I had pretty much the same conversation I always have, and it might sound familiar. It goes something like this: does anybody need anything from the grocery store? And then you try to like tear them away from whatever they're doing long enough so that they can tell you, and they usually say,
yes.
No, I don't think so. And in like a day from now, it's going to be, why isn't there any cereal? Did you get more orange juice? And so,
always.
I'm looking forward to that. That's coming pretty soon.
Absolutely. You're going to be unpacking the groceries, and there's going to be, well, at least from my end, there's
where
going to be
the Oreos?
Tears, because why didn't you buy Oreos?
Right.
You said, I specifically asked you if you needed anything. Well, I need it. Yeah. No.
Or you get some Oreos. You get some Oreos for yourself, and you're looking forward, and you hide them in the back of the cabinet, but they're gone, and they think, well, why didn't you get more? Well, you didn't take your head out of your phone, or and let me know something constructive about what you want for dinner. I always ask that every week. What do you want for dinner this week? And it's just pasta and hamburgers, and please don't make anything weird, Dad. So anyway.
There's not a lot of variety to it, so it shouldn't be hard to name the things that you want, right?
Exactly.
Oh man, my favorite. Now again, I have a 2-year-old, but it is still my favorite thing is when I say, "Hey, what do you want?" and she will say, buttered pasta, like great. I make her buttered pasta. I sit in front of her, burst into tears. I don't want buttered pasta.
Right,
and I'm like, I am going to turn you at the fire station. Speaking of groceries, I was stalking you on your website, and you have like a section about other things that you're doing, and I see you're doing a freezer inventory situation.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that, because that fascinates me.
I'm happy to talk about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in addition to the obviously very nerdy stuff that I do with my finding people, I do lots of other nerdy stuff, as you might imagine. And I do lots of like home automation, sort of side projects and different things. Any excuse to like write some code, I'm usually in on that. But yeah, I set up this automation not too long ago where basically what I can do is if I want to. I was having a lot of trouble managing the things in my freezer. Like, you put something in the freezer and you try, I don't know what people use, but I tried for a long time just having a piece of paper taped to the freezer where I'd write things on it and try to cross them off. And I did a terrible job at that. And then
that is a level of nerddom in terms of freezer management.
It gets worse.
It has never occurred to me to do anything but just scrounge between the chicken nuggets and the peas open. And then there's 10,000 peas at the bottom of the freezer. And in 10 years, I'll get them out. But
it's like an archaeological dig. You're like,
totally.
steak from the 40s. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, I found that we have like a pretty large freezer in the garage, and it's easy to lose stuff in there for months at a time if you don't try to keep track of it. So I tried a bunch of different approaches to doing it. And then I thought, okay, well, what I need is a spreadsheet, because a spreadsheet is usually my answer for most things. And I tried that.
Your love language is .xls. Is that what it is?
Absolutely. So I tried a spreadsheet for a while, but I still had the same problem with not updating it, right? Because it was too many steps for me to like, go back to my computer or like pull up Google Sheets or whatever on my phone and try to do it quickly. And I would forget. So it would be out of date almost immediately. And then every 6 months or so, we'd try to like true up the freezer inventory to what's in the spreadsheet. And it was just a nightmare. So eventually what I figured out how to do to really simplify the whole story is, because it could be a really long story if I told you all the details, but what I figured out that I could do that would make it work for me better is I set up a Siri shortcut on my iPhone so that I could easily tell it, like basically I pull out my phone and I hit a shortcut and it says, well, what are you adding to the freezer? And I name whatever it is. And I can put in like, if it's like 2 pounds chicken breasts, whatever. And then it will automatically, that calls out to, a script that updates my Google spreadsheet where it will add that item, automatically set the date so that way it can keep track of how old it is, and it puts it in the spreadsheet. And then, and it gives it a number and it tells me, okay, that's number 115. And I write the number on the bag or whatever it is. And then I put it in the freezer. And then when I take it out, I have a different shortcut that says I'm removing something. It says, okay, what number? And I say, 115. And it says, oh, is that the chicken breast? I say, yes. And, God. It actually works so much better for me now. And I'm doing not a perfect job, but a better job of keeping the inventory up to date. And then I went another step further based on a suggestion actually from somebody who saw my video. They said, you should figure out how to like periodically look at your spreadsheet of freezer stuff and send yourself an email when stuff's getting old. And then that person actually went and like figured it out on their own, and they sent me like a snippet of code. They're like, I did it like this. And I was like, I love that. So I did something similar. So now every Monday morning I get an email that tells me anything in my freezer that's more than like, I don't know, 2 months old or something. It says like, hey, think about using this stuff. I love it.
That is incredible. I mean, that this is the liberal agenda. This is what conservatives are terrified of.
That's right.
Is this sort of home automation. So wait, I need to go back, because for our listener who maybe doesn't know who you are, which boggles my fucking mind if anybody doesn't know who you are. Tell us a little bit about what you do, because you came across my TikTok feed like a lot of our guests have, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And you find people who ask to be found. So for those of you who have never maybe watched your feed, what do you do?
So basically, people will send me videos recorded anywhere in the world, and they will ask me to figure out exactly where they recorded that video. And then what I will do is look at the clues that I see in those videos, and just using the clues in those videos, in that video that person sent me, try to figure out where the heck they were. And the funny thing is, you'd think like, well, that sounds like really very difficult depending on what they show you. And what I have learned over, a few years of doing this is that you would be surprised how many clues you can find in very brief videos. And that's kind of the reason I started doing it, was to demonstrate to people how you're potentially risking your privacy posting short videos that you think like nobody knows where this is. I'm out with my friends recording a short video, except
there was an agenda here with starting this project. I see.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'll be perfectly honest. I mean, my first reason for doing it is because I like doing it. It's like, to me, it's like solving a puzzle, right?
Fun.
So
it's a game for you and for the people being found.
But I try to remind people that like, look, we're having fun here, but I'm also trying to, help you be aware of what you're sharing, because I have found, I've done it over 500 times. I have found people in over 50 countries around the world. So, so it can be eye-opening. Sometimes the videos are really obvious. It's like, oh, well, yeah, they showed you this, this, and that. But other times it's like, wait a minute, you're saying from, these 2 clues, you figure out exactly where it was. And sometimes it's possible.
Have you ever not found somebody, or does that happen? Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the most common questions I get. And when I say question, sometimes it's not even a question. People will comment on my videos and say like, this guy only shows us the ones that he finds. And that's why it looks so amazing. People love to accuse me of that. But
yeah, you even have a vast right-wing, a vast whatever wing conspiracy against you that you're a fraud and a fake. But
because you exist online.
What are the requirements that you need that you ask people to give you?
Very few, honestly. People assume that I put a bunch of constraints around it. I don't know, to make it easier or something, but I really don't. The main rules that I ask people to follow are rules about making it a safe thing for everyone. So the first thing is I will not find anyone who's under 18. That seems self-explanatory. The second thing is I need the person to what I ask people to do, and I'll explain why in a second. I ask people when they're sending me a video to geolocate, they should appear on camera and ask me to find them. Say, where am I, Jose Monkey, or whatever they want to say. Or if they don't want to appear on camera, they can just show a sign of some kind in the video itself. The reason I do that is to make sure that the person it's clear that this person is demonstrating consent for me to do this, and that they haven't just taken some video that they found on the internet and sent it to me and said like, hey, tell me where I was. And it's like, it's where like, some random person was, or like where their ex-wife is. Right. Yeah. So like for safety reasons, I instituted that rule about like 6 months into doing it. I was like, I need a way to make this safer. And so now I ask people to do that. So that's the main rules are, you have to be over 18. You must appear on camera or show a sign so that I know that, you are really a person who's asking me to find this video. And then beyond that, I ask people just for their own safety, not to be driving when they send me a video, because I've gotten a lot of those. And I also advise people to do it at someplace public that is a place that they would be okay with me revealing the location. Like, don't do it from your backyard or something where I might, have to say where you live in order to, to tell people where it was. So I ask people to use good judgment about that. But otherwise, I mean, people sometimes assume that they need to send like a full 360, turn all around. It's certainly helpful if they do. I don't require that. I've had some people send ones where it might as well be a photograph. They basically don't move the camera at all. And that can be really hard.
I don't want to spring this on you, but I think you and I should do a live location tracking right now, and we're going to do it with Gavin. So here's what I want you to find, okay?
Okay.
Can you find Gavin's sense of humor?
Jesus.
Well,
how would you go about that? Because I've been looking for many, many years, and I'm really struggling to find it. No, I'm kidding.
Did my kids put you up to this? Because they definitely
totally.
In the last week have said, Dad, if you would have a sense of humor about this. And I'm like,
you're like, I co-host a comedy podcast. Right. But what's hilarious is like, I'm a super fan, so I've seen a lot. I haven't seen all of them, but I've seen a lot of your videos. And what's hilarious is that Gavin, as he was explaining, like, yeah, you just see the woods or a parking parking lot and you're like, oh, that's nothing. And Jose is like, but see that trash can? That dumpster is a specific shape. And I know that only in North Dakota do they make dumpsters that shape. So I went to it is wild, the things that, because it's never just like, oh, the sign that says Poughkeepsie this way. It's never that. I mean, maybe sometimes it is, but it's almost always the shape of a trash can, which is hilarious. And going back to kind of you saying you started it because you liked doing it. That is, to me, what's attractive to me about it, and why I think it's just the best thing. And if you're not following him, follow him immediately, and follow him on YouTube, because who knows where TikTok is going to be. But is that it's so grounded in authenticity. It's so clear that you love doing this.
I really
because do. It's just so apparent, and I think that's why it's so attractive to watch. Speaking of attractive, let's talk about Thomas Lennon, who did one of your videos, which when I saw that, I about jumped out of my chair. Please tell us.
Me too.
How did that come? Yeah. How did that happen?
Yeah. So it is kind of wild. Like, once you, reach a certain level of, success on a platform like that,
1.8 million followers on TikTok, by the way.
It's kind of a lot. Blows my mind. But once you have that many people following you, it's not too much of a stretch to have well-known celebrities be among them. And so a handful of, actually, I don't even know for sure. Maybe there are ones that are following me that are using accounts that don't really reveal their actual names. But I did get a request from Thomas Lennon. And the funny thing is, he sent kind of like a really goofy request at a very obvious location. He was in Vancouver, standing in front of a sign that said Vancouver in big letters, and it was intended to be a joke. I think he like really played it up. And I didn't do it right away because I was actually in the middle of like a whole a thing. Like, I think it might have been when I was doing International Week or something, and I had a bunch of videos planned. But I didn't do it. And when I finally got back to it, it was nearly April Fool's Day. So when I did the video, because it would have been, like I sometimes do what I call lightning round videos, where it's like, if I find it very, very quickly, I just like, boom, reveal location. But but it probably would have been something like that because it was so obvious where it was. So instead, I did it for an April Fool's Day video. And I like really played it up, acted like it was really hard to find. Said a bunch of
followed
like,
all the wrong
things.
Clues.
Right.
Followed all the wrong clues. Yeah.
And that drove some people absolutely insane. They're like, "Oh my God, it's so obvious." And some people who didn't watch all the way through, like, really thought like I didn't find it or like I was, struggling or something. But obviously it was a joke, and it was funny because at first. Tom Lennon didn't reply at all, and didn't like the video or anything as far as I saw. And I was like, oh geez, I hope he didn't like think I was making fun of him, or like maybe he didn't think it was funny. And I was like really, sort of like bummed about it. And then randomly, like a few weeks later, or actually maybe been like a month later, he commented on the video and just said, "This is the funniest thing I've ever seen," or something like that.
You
died.
Win. You won the internet. Holy shit! The funniest man in the world said did the funniest thing in the world. Like that's you. It was pretty Oscar cool at that point. Oh my God,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I was excited.
And that was I like that you did it the way you did, because Tom is like, if you ever watch Reno 911 or any of the stuff he does, like that's the way he does it. He plays it very straight,
right.
Like, and the way you did it, you were like, well, I see in the past that sign that says Vancouver, the way the waves go, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So before we move on, because I want to talk about, being a parent and privacy and all that kind of stuff, we got to talk about the true hero of your page. And that is that sexy piece of white chocolate, Chad. Can we talk about Chad?
Of course. Everyone loves to talk about Chad.
It is he sometimes the spotlight is on him and not you.
It's true.
Again, for those of you who haven't watched, Chad
it's good to have a side piece like
totally
me to David.
Side piece.
So
exactly, it's who you kind of throw to in these situations. And he's this like douchey backwards hat, sleeveless A shirt kind of guy. But it's so funny because it breaks up your videos just enough to have a little fun. And you playing the straight man, oh man, that is so funny. And when did that start?
It's funny. I feel like the Chad character started appearing in my videos. Not initially. It was a while before he started showing up. And really, what I needed was, at first, it was kind of a way for me to respond to people who would, heckle me in the comments and, say things. So like if I wanted to respond to something that like, some troll was saying in the comments, rather than addressing the person directly, especially if it was something where I'd get like a comment that was made frequently and I wanted to respond to it over time. Sometimes I would make a video where I would have Chad say that thing to me so that I could react to him. And he was like a stand-in for, for some of the like more annoying things that like jerky people were posting.
But also keeps you clean. You get to be clean. You just be like, no, Chad said it. I don't know what or Chad responded to the troll. It wasn't me.
That is genius problem solving, by the way. Genius.
Yeah, it evolved over time. And it's funny because at first it was like we had this really sort of adversarial relationship where like Chad was always like saying like, nasty things to me. And I was just like, kind of trying to shrug it off. And over time, he like, has come to like start helping me in my videos. But it was kind of fun. Some people, I mean, really love that character and have been saying like Chad should have his own TikTok. Let Chad, do a whole
Don't
video.
ruin it.
No, keep Chad in the corner.
No,
keep
Chad is
Chad
salt on top of the cookie. It's not. You don't want a whole meal of salt.
I think it would get old fast.
You're doing it right. It would get old fast. Also, I think Chad. I've already written an entire like origin film for Chad. Chad for sure. He's this like douchey finance bro, and he basically he knows he is as dumb as rocks, but he stumbled upon some tech thing and he is a multi-billionaire now. But he is
possible.
He probably has an OnlyFans for fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just something about Chad. Also, Chad is often sleeveless for those of you out there looking for a Jose Monkey.
A little bit
thirst trap. There are guns.
Chad did a little dance recently. I don't know if you guys caught that one, but he apparently is a Taylor Swift fan. Yeah.
Of course, Chad is a Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah. Which, guys, to be clear, Jose Monkey is a Taylor Swift fan as well. Confirmed Swiftie dad. So yeah, awesome. I absolutely am. But yeah, like Chad does, like you said, kind of help me keep my hands clean. I had like a really interesting location come up in a video the other day where I don't know if you may have seen it, but there was a person who sent me a video from outside of a gentleman's club. And
I did see that one.
Yeah, and I just let Chad take the reins on that one because he knew exactly what he was looking at, and Jose Monkey had no idea.
Yeah,
Chad. I mean, so Jose Monkey is definitely the one who inventories his freezer, and Chad is not. And so, what is fantastic to me about this is that you've got your own little improv troupe here between you and Chad. That is a level of creativity that goes beyond just inventorying your steak from 1967. So,
but it's so smart to keep you, Jose Monkey, clean.
Yeah,
like you could keep yourself clean and still say the shitty things if you want. I'm not saying Chad is shitty, but you kind of create this character, and it keeps your hands clean.
It's funny too the extent to which the illusion really works for people. People talk to me about Chad, like Chad's a real guy standing here in the room.
Yeah, he is he's not fake. So
it's not me.
Okay, so on to the really boring stuff. Everybody, listener out there, if you want to take a nap,
here comes Gavin with the boring stuff.
Mm-hmm. But I am a big fan. I have repeated an awful lot recently the quote that we're probably, hopefully, all spreading more and more, which is that in terms of our kids vis-a-vis the intrawebs, that we are overprotecting our kids in the real world and underprotecting them online. Mm-hmm. Assuming you agree with that. And presuming you have children, what is your prescription for people protecting their kids online?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I try to occasionally speak to parents, directly in some of my videos and say, like, you really want to be careful about some of the things you're posting and the things you share, about yourself, but also about your kids. A lot of parents post on behalf of their children. They think nothing of posting photos of their children. And I think you certainly can do that, but you really need to be kind of mindful of, how you're sharing things, who can see them, right? Like so many parents do not really check their privacy settings and share things with the world. And that's probably not the best idea. So yeah, I think, generally speaking, I think most of the advice I give is just good advice for anyone who's, trying to share things on the internet, but also be, somewhat safe and, not risk their privacy. but I think some of it, speaks specifically to, to parents and watching out for their kids. So, sometimes I like one of the videos that I did that was one of the ones that went like super viral and is, when my account really started to get a lot of eyes on it, was helping a mom who sent me a video and said, I need you to help me out. I have a 10-year-old who really wants to get on social media and I am trying to explain the risks to them. So can you help me? Like, and she just shows me where she is and says, tell me where I am. And I did. And it was a tricky one too, because there were not a lot of clues, but I actually found it fairly quickly. And, being able to pinpoint, this seemingly, nondescript location, it was in Georgia, and say exactly where the mom was standing, within like a few feet. I think it's eye opening for people. So yeah.
Oh man, I hope you don't ever log into my router, because the amount of horrific photos I have sent through my router would blow your mind. So let's just pretend that like I totally follow the online safety and anonymity that you say. I'm just gonna
as we all do.
Sure.
But David is approaching a world where his kids are going to be they're going to be much more literate in the iPad and iPhone navigation than he is. I mean, my kids are far beyond me; they're preteens. But what limits should David be putting right now on an iPad, his TV, his phone, to protect the kid?
Yeah, I mean it's tricky because you do want to allow them to enjoy these things and become fluent in this language, of digital communication that is our reality. But at the same time, like wherever you can put controls on things that make sense, I think that's good to do. Okay. So a lot of the various different like streaming apps obviously have like parental controls and things that you can that you can use. But really, I think the biggest risks come in things that are harder to control without getting people to appreciate the risks, right? Like that's why I try to raise awareness, because until you can get someone to really self-police what they're doing on the internet, then there are always going to be opportunities for them to overshare things, right? So, so I think it's really good to speak to your kids about like what kinds of things are okay to share with other people. Maybe putting sort of limits on like what they're allowed to do, like don't let them text anybody who you haven't said it's okay to text, or like like lots of common sense things like that, right? But because once you open the door to them being able to put things out there on the internet, they're going to make mistakes. They're not going to use good judgment all the time, and so you need to like really kind of help them understand like what some of those risks are, because it's too easy to make mistakes that could be a real risk to your privacy.
So you're anti-embargo for, say, teens being on social media, but just being smart and digitally literate and talk about it, right?
I feel like it's a balance. Like I think anybody has to, evaluate for themselves what they think makes the most sense. I feel like to completely like, keep to try to keep your children completely away from it is difficult. Maybe when they're younger, but like once they start to get older, it's difficult to do. And honestly, it seems like it might be a thing that you're doing to help them. But if you sort of wind the clock back and say like, well, what if, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, you restricted your children from using, whatever was the technology, like if they weren't allowed to watch cable or they weren't allowed to, do whatever, right? Like, you really are sort of limiting their socialization and being able to participate in this common, cultural language. So, so I think it's a delicate balance. You have to like limit where you can, but also give them a chance to to learn how to be a good internet citizen.
Yeah, I feel like I lucked out. I feel like I was born at the perfect time. I'm 44, and so when I was growing up, we had a computer in the house starting around middle school. So I got to kind of be there before the internet, and then it slowly pieced together. Right. And then in college, there were chat rooms and there was meeting people offline and there was online dating and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like that was the best lesson because it was a kind of a safe way to fail because it wasn't too big and not everyone was already on it. Everyone was still trying to figure it out. But yeah, diving into the deep end now, listen, meeting strangers online, I've done that a billion times. But for a kid, right? They don't understand they didn't kind of,
Right.
it wasn't like a slow tiptoe up to it. It's just
Right.
all of a sudden. And so, I that is one thing I do often think about. And I somehow, I feel a little sad for my kids that there's not this like safe place to fail before it's like really meaningful to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have dignity to be preserved, unlike yours, which was buried decades ago.
Absolutely from the 80s, gone.
But Jose, are you afraid of nefarious assholes out there, or are you afraid of corporations just sucking up our data?
Well, so it's a really fair question, and honestly, I think both of those things are really big issues. To some extent, there's like worrying about the bad actors out there who are going to do things with the information you share, but the corporations, I mean, that's huge. We just so readily end up giving up a lot of our privacy to companies through these, really kind of lengthy and somewhat opaque terms of, service that we just click on. Everybody just tap agree, just keep going because I want to use this app that you're giving me. And we made that bargain a long time ago, maybe not with eyes open, right? Like this era of free apps, free websites where you get all these things and you're not paying for them, but you're giving them something in return, and in a lot of cases, it's access to your information, and I mean, I'm really concerned about that. It's very difficult though to really change that scenario, right? Because individuals can make different decisions about what they choose to, like what services and apps they choose to use, and things that they agree to willingly share, but. Again, it's so much of what's out there. You're really shutting yourself out from participating in a bunch of these things, and we've grown so accustomed to having free software that we can use all the time, and and so it's tricky. I really think that some other countries outside the United States are doing a better job in starting to put controls on what companies can do and to protect your privacy. And I really feel like that is there's something to that.
Yeah, sure.
And hopefully, I mean, you'd like to see that done from a well-intentioned place and not just done, as a way of pushing some other agenda, right? Like sometimes you'll see politicians try to make changes that they say it's it's a safe internet policy that they're trying to push, but really what they're pushing is something else, right? So it's complicated.
You're also in a terrible position because you are a online safety and privacy advocate on the internet, doing videos, finding people. Inevitably, you're going to come across the worst kind of people. It's like when you're a waiter, you just like meet the worst of humanity. You're a well-known face on the internet. Like you are just taking the shit by these these keyboard vigilantes, and people trying to find you and all that kind of stuff. That's got to be maddening.
Yeah, I mean it's tricky, right? Because like anyone, I try to be a fairly private individual. And I reject any of these things that people say about how like anyone who reaches a certain level of celebrity that like, oh, well, they no longer are entitled to privacy or something. It's like,
no, I mean, the big Chappell Roan. Chappell Roan's video is going crazy for that. I was actually going to bring that up with you because it is so true. I so appreciate her bringing this up. I dealt with this in a very, 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 very tiny way on Broadway where some of the people that I would work with are way more famous than me, and they would sometimes not go to the stage door afterwards because they couldn't, or they had to save their voice or whatever. And people really gave them a ton of shit for it. I cannot imagine being a celebrity at that level, or even your level where like people recognize you and they expect stuff out of you. I'm so glad that they're speaking up because they don't owe us anything. They owe us whatever if we bought their CD, I'm 100 years old. If we bought their album, then we get their album, and that's all we get. Anything else is bonus.
Yeah. And I mean, I totally agree. I think in my experience, I have been out in public, recognized by people, and they've always been nice. I've not, so far had any like weird, negative experiences. That's always been, really, really positive, and I love that. But it is tricky. Like, sometimes you're just out and you don't you're just doing your thing. You're not like, I'm not out looking to be Jose Monkey, for everybody to say hello to. I'm grocery shopping or something. Or like, I mean, oddly, the funny thing that happened is I got summoned for jury duty, and I went there, and I'm sitting in the room waiting for them to decide who's going to be put on a case and all this stuff. And a person turns to me and they say, "Aren't you that guy?" And I'm like, but I mean, I don't blame them. Like, it's a thing that anybody would do, right? And they were totally nice, but it's a little weird, right? It's like I'm out in public at this place just trying to do my civic duty, right? And it's like, let's not talk about that right now.
You and Oprah doing your civic duty.
You guys are the same level. Same level.
I suspect that's not true, but
so you're a parent. We talked about this.
Yes.
You told us that your kids are very excited about the Oreos, that you definitely bought them. Tell us. We always like funny parenting stories, or like I'll never forget the time when you earned that parenting badge.
Well, I will never forget the day that I lost my children's trust, because I've never gained it back. And I'll tell you why. So one time, several years ago, I was trying, in my younger days as a parent, when I, thought that, surely if you expose the children to enough different foods, even if they're picky eaters, they'll come around to it. So I was still in the stage. I was still in the stage where I thought I was going to, be able to get them to come around. I would try different things, and one day I was going to make. I was just sort of making just like homemade sort of, just like a breaded like fish. Like it was just something really basic. It was just like some kind of like, white fish with some kind of breading on it, or they may have been beer battered. I don't remember exactly what it was, but my youngest came into the room and said, "What are you making for dinner?" And I said, and I looked at what I was making, and I know all kids like, chicken nuggets. And so I looked at what I was making, and I was like, "I'm making crispy nuggets." I didn't say they were chicken. I just
Your
said
Honor.
That's right. I never said it was chicken, Your Honor. So I said, I'm making crispy nuggets. And then my kid says, Oh, good. I like nuggets. Mom thought it was fish. And then leaves the room. And so I'm like, okay, just like crossing my fingers. And then, of course, as you are probably guessing, when we all sat down to dinner, the kids tried their crispy nuggets and took one bite, and immediately were like, "What is this? This is not a chicken nugget." And then when I didn't lie to them, I explained. I was like, "Well, it's I didn't say it was chicken. These are fish.
Nugget is a
nuggets.
shape. It is
Right.
It is a proportion of meat." Yeah, the betrayal is still in their eyes. Yeah,
right. So then once I explained what it was, which was really more of an omission than a lie, they were not happy. And now the fish nuggets story is like, forget it. To this day, years later, like they still, are a little bit like suspicious whenever I bring something to the table. If they're not sure what it is, they're like, "What is this? What? No, tell us the truth." And they think I'm lying to them like all the time because of the fish nuggets. So they will never trust me.
I have had the exact experience. I did exactly. I pulled the same bullshit, and my daughter to this day still is very wary of eating anything remotely like a nugget in my presence, and she immediately thinks it is fish. Unfortunately, all chicken
That's
now
so
to
funny.
her, and I'm talking like for the last 6 years, chicken in front of her, she's like, no, this is fish. I can
she
tell
wants
this
to
is
see an
fish.
ingredients list. She's like, "Show me the ingredients list."
I'm like, "Girl, you have refused to eat fish for the last 5 years, which pisses me off to no end.
Right.
And so you think I'm gonna actually choose this fight right now?" I choose that battle all the time. But
I'm just sitting over here with my 5 and 2-year-old being like, "No, I thought that if I diversified their plates enough that they just will eat anything. And you guys are crushing my dreams with your
Just
little
you wait.
Satan hooves."
Perhaps there's hope at your house. I wish you luck with that.
I don't like the tone of your voice, Jose Monkey. I don't like the tone of your voice. Well, guys, that's it. Thank you so much, Jose Monkey, for joining us on our stupid little podcast. We love you. If people don't know who you are, and if you are, just walk into traffic because that's insane. But if not, if you want to follow him, where do we find you?
Well, you can find me on TikTok, also on YouTube. So, follow me on either place if you would like to see my videos. I'm also on Threads if you want to see the stuff that I say there from time to time. But
nobody's on Threads.
Nobody's on Threads. But nobody's on Threads. It's just me.
Nobody's on Threads. Nobody's on X. People are kind of on Twitter. Yeah.
So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So my something great this week, you're going to roll your eyes, but it's my first time, so you got to give it to me, is back to school shopping.
Yeah.
And what I mean is like my son is going to kindergarten, so it's crayons, a pencil box, an eraser. It's like stupid bullshit, But we took that little list.
I love that. I mean, it's so visceral for your own memory of getting your school box, whatever it was called, right?
Yeah.
That was Return of the Jedi, and you organize your crayons with your scissors.
Yeah. It was just like it brought me back to the fun I had when I was a kid of like getting this list and being like, we got to check off all the things and we got to go and do it. So I don't know. It's a small something great, but it was like really fun. We went to Target.
Yeah.
And so we paid $2 extra for everything we bought versus just going to the dollar store, which is what we should have done. But it was it was just so fun. And he was excited. My son was excited about grabbing each thing and being like, which one goes into which box. So anyway, that's my something great.
Love it. I mean, school related also. My something great is having my time back to myself thanks to school. Uninterrupted 6.5, 7 hours. Bring it. And while I want to be in summer mode all the time because I'm just a lighthearted, sunshiny person, no. Give me dark, cold days all day long so that I can do what? Sit on my computer and work. I am so lame, but it's something great.
And you know what else is lame? Our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, you can email us at GaytriarchsPodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at GaytriarchsPodcast. On the internet, David is at David FM Vaughn everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge in a dark corner working on his computer.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, and we'll overwork you next time on another episode of Gaytriarchs. So today's my kid's first day of school, and I absolutely follow the trend, and I feel so pathetic doing so. We were driving our kids to school, and I saw other people on front steps taking their first day picture with the chalkboard of the whatevers and everything. Should we be doing that?
It's a really good question, and I try to talk to people about this around this time of year because, like you said, so many people do it. It's almost like a requirement if you're a parent and you're online. But I think you can do it, but you really just need to be careful about a few things. The first thing is obviously you want to be like really sure who you're sharing it with. So, so many parents, like I said, so many parents don't check their privacy settings and they're just posting pictures that anyone on the internet can see. So probably not the best idea. But I think, some things to watch out for. Like you said, a lot of people like to take them on the front steps or, like on the way to the bus because you get like, a really good, outdoor shot, good lighting. If possible, consider taking the photos inside. I know it's not as fun, but it is much more difficult for someone to figure out where you are if you're inside a house than if you're outside. You would not believe how many photos I've seen where people take a photo on the front steps and you can see the house number. Sometimes
my
that
house
is
number is
enough.
right next to my front door. It's like right there. Yeah.
And sometimes that is enough to figure out where someone is if you have other information that you can use. Or, people will sometimes take a photo at the bus stop and, you can see a street sign or something. It's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't do that depending on who's seeing the photo, right? Like if it's just your friends and family, maybe not a big deal, right? The other thing, you mentioned those chalkboards. Those are tricky depending on who's seeing your videos again, or your photos. Sometimes those chalkboards have so much information about our kids on them. It says their name, what grade they're going into, their interests, what their teacher's name is, what school, it's like, I'm going into the 4th grade and my teacher is Mrs. Smith. I mean, that in the wrong hands can be, kind of a big deal. So I'd say watch out for that. But also clothing is another one to watch out for if you're posting photos of your kids, not just first day of school photos, but, if they're wearing that, like, class of 2025 shirt that, that might even say the name of the school on it. Right. So stuff to watch out for. But, it's something we all want to do and is fun to do as a parent, but like as long as you know who's seeing it,
because we just want to keep up with those Joneses, and somehow we need to have the personal integrity to know that we don't need to do exactly what the Joneses did.
But don't come here for personal integrity.
But please don't.